The issues, the heartache, and the confusion comes when we just want to hang on to all these friendships, which happens all the time. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our channel.
I'm Susie.
And I'm Ness, and this is Mom and Daughter Talk, where we hope to inspire,
encourage,
and uplift your mother-daughter relationships. Today, we're talking about
friendships. So perspective from her age group as far as friendships and from my perspective at this stage of life. So go ahead, you started off first. What are some qualities that you find to be great in a friendship?
So trust is definitely a huge one for me. Honesty is definitely a huge one as well. I mean, my definition of a friend has changed drastically in the past year. Initially, my definition of a friend was somebody who is always there for me, somebody who, I can talk to, somebody who gives me advice, somebody who can go to the club with me, go to the bars with me, somebody who can do activities with me, someone who likes talking about guys, because I like talking about guys. And now my definition of a friendship has changed to somebody who, when I'm in a ditch, they can pull me out. Somebody who I can confide in, somebody who wants to hang out with me, for me, and not just for the things we can do together. Somebody who's not afraid to tell me the hard cold truth, even if I don't listen, because sometimes I don't. But somebody who, has your best interest at heart and loves you like a sister.
Yeah, talking about sisters, I have one brother, and in growing up, secretly, I always wanted a sister. Not to negate him, but just to have a sister, because I like the camaraderie, especially like twins fascinate me and things like that. And sisters do too. But then I realized as I got older, just because you have a sister doesn't necessarily mean that you will get along like you think you will in your fantasy of what a sister should be. That's right. True. I saw this one documentary one time where there were these identical twins. And one was real straight by the book, this, that, and the other. The other one had a pretty criminal life. And so she went to prison, and when she came out, she tried to kill her twin sister to take her identity. So I was like, case in point, just because your sisters or twins doesn't mean necessarily that you'll get along. So I actually have a best friend that is like a sister to me. And so I think that friendship/sisterhood is absolutely imperative in your life. For me, as far as friendships go, you hit it on the head. As far as someone that has your best interest at hand, is supportive, but doesn't necessarily always agree with you, meaning they are willing to tell you the truth. Because there's a scripture that says, the kisses of an enemy are deceitful, but faithful are the wounds of a friend. So meaning when a friend tells you the truth, even though it may hurt at the time being, if their motive is because they love you and they're giving their perspective of what truth is, then I think that's wonderful. I do.
And when you get that, loving critique and criticism from a friend, you have to also not be easily offended and know if they love you, that's the foundation. They're coming at you in love. You don't always have to get butthurt about it. I know that happens a lot, especially with females. We get butthurt about every single little thing, especially since we be texting all the time. You can't really see people face to face anymore. Yeah. Try not to be easily offended.
Yeah. And I think that comes down to loving the truth more than loving to defend yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's got to be a love for the truth, no matter how it comes. And really, even in this relationship, where if she says something and it hurts maybe, but I know it's the truth, then I gotta deal with it. And there are times that I've had to come and say, I'm sorry. I was wrong.
Yeah. And we're very opposite in the sense of how we deal with problems. She's more passive. I'm more aggressive and blunt and upfront. So there are some things like I've learned I have to work on. This is for a friendship. This is for a romantic relationship, spouse, anything. Like when there's disagreements, you have to learn how the other takes that in, how they process it. Some people might take an hour to process it. Others might take a day to process it. Some don't want to talk about it right now. Some want to talk about it right now. And you have to really know your friend, know whoever you're in relation with, and be attentive to how they react to situations, and know that sometimes you got to hold your tongue and other times you got to just not be easily offended.
Yeah, absolutely. Because guess what? As long as you walk on this planet, offenses will come, and there'll be opportunities for you to respond or react.
Yeah.
Different. Yeah.
And they come so often that you have many times to try and get it right.
Right. And I don't know about you, but I know for me, like as I've gotten older, I realize I really don't need a whole lot of friends. I think it is about in your 20s, having fun and this, that, and I like having fun too. But as far as like a confidant and things, just one or two is fine.
So you have how many friends you said?
Over the years, I've acquired a lot of friends. It's just that as far as like someone that I talk to frequently, I would say probably one, maybe two. And this is another mark of a great friendship is someone that you may not have talked to for a long time, but when you do talk, it's like you talked 2 days ago. I have a friend, Viola, that's like that. Well, sometimes we haven't talked for months, but yeah, we pick up and it's like, hey. And it's just like we talked the other day. Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a few friends like that. Carla's another one. Yeah.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Oh, we name dropping? Well, I have a friend, Sierra, who we fell off for 2 years, then we got back together. But it definitely happens. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. But you have a small friend group. I also have a small friend group. Had to grow into being okay with having a small friend group, especially, us youngsters, like high school, college, 20s, even 30s, where we just want a lot of friends. We want people to do things with. We want people to listen to our problems and to vent to and to gossip with, like all this stuff. And for me, I was getting like 10, 20 opinions from a lot of people because I like to vent. I like to talk about my problems. Some people are very like, reserved, shy, and like, you have to like force it out of them what they're trying to tell you. But for me, it's like, I just used to like vomit the information on you, even if I just met you. Like, that's what I used to do.
No one wants to be vomited on the first time you meet someone.
Then I would take all of their opinions. They came from everywhere. And I would like eat the fish and spit out the bones. And I would be like, okay, they said this, they said that. They said this, they said that. And would literally just negate whatever I felt initially. You know what I mean? And I didn't realize it until now. Honestly, now that I'm talking, I didn't realize that, I had all these different opinions and I'm taking on what others think of my situation. And I was just not even listening to me or God or anyone except the person who was in front of me. And I would go seek out people and friends to tell them like, oh, what do you think about this? Like, I don't know what to do here. And so now that I have a very, very, very small friend group, it's easier to decipher like between voices. I'll even say that.
Yeah, I think there's something to be said about just really quieting yourself and quieting your soul. There's a scripture that says, be still and know that I am God. And it takes stillness because we live in such a busy life and there's so much, like you said, noise around us that the concerted effort has to go into just quieting ourselves. Sometimes that can be more of a challenge than being busy and loud, So, because God usually, he speaks in a whisper, and then because of his love for us, sometimes when we don't hear that whisper, then it gets louder and louder, and then he'll use circumstances sometimes to show us. There's something about calming ourselves down, quieting our emotions ourselves, and to really hear the voice of God. Yeah.
Yep. Powered by prayer. You got to get by yourself and get with God sometimes just to even stay sane and understand your situation.
Yeah. See, good.
But friends are great. Like, don't get us wrong.
Oh, no.
Have the right ones.
Amazing. Absolutely.
So how do you decipher who to have friends with or whatnot when you're older?
You just notice a pattern. Like, for instance, usually when I first meet somebody and we really click initially really well, that's a sign to me like, oh, there's something there. There's a connection, an immediate connection. And then also just through experience, I think in retrospect, I would accept people into my heart a little too quickly than I needed to. Yeah. And so doing that, because I used to have this philosophy like, people are trustworthy until they do something contrary to that. But then I realized, you know what? Everyone should start out neutral, and trustworthiness should be earned. And let it take its time, in the right timing. But again, time reveals a lot. And actually listening to people reveal a lot. Like if you just listen to what people say, because There's a scripture that says that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So when you listen to what people say, even about themselves, about other people and their opinions and things, listen to them and see what that perspective is. Yeah.
And if it doesn't really align with where you're trying to go in life, well, I'll leave that there.
Okay.
Yeah, friendships for me, now that I'm thinking about it, have not been the smoothest at all. I would say, looking back on my life, that friendships was something I just could never seem to really get right. And I carried and held a lot of pain from friendships. I remember, especially in college, there were a lot of friendships that were like dying off. And you remember, I would cry.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would bawl as if it was like a breakup from a bad relationship with a boyfriend. Like, it hurt that deeply. And at a season in my life, it was happening over and over and over and over again. And, I was like, why is this happening to me? Like, I don't get it. In retrospect, I'm best with only a few friends. But I was just trying to be friends with a lot of people, or really just have a lot of people who I could tell my problems to and hear their opinion, because I love to reflect on my problems and issues and learn from them. So for me at the time, the more information I got, the more I felt like I could reflect and I could kind of see how others thought and everything. But friendships, you're not always going to get it right. I know I sure didn't.
Yeah, and I think if it's rooted in really mutual respect and love for one another, then, because there's going to be times where you may disagree in things, you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be a fallout every time or whatever, but you disagree. But if the foundation is that, like I said, you respect one another, you love one another, and be supportive of one another, even though at times when you may disagree. I think that's the litmus test of the strength of the friendship, is that when you don't agree, how do you move forward?
Yeah. And on a spiritual tip and on a spiritual perspective, with my friendships now, the way I navigate it, man, like I can tell when God has brought somebody into my life to be my friend, whether it's for a reason, a season, or for a lifetime. Like I won't know unless time reveals itself. But when we might go through those, arguments, disagreements, whatever, when I know that God brought them into my life, I mean, I'm not just going to cut you off, because that was my defense mechanism before. I was hurt so much by friends. Like, I'll just cut you off. Oh, I can live without you. Like, I'm good. But that's not healthy at all. And so in me growing in that, which I'm still growing in, but me growing in that, just seeing how, wow, like God brought you into my life and I see the fruit of it. So I'm not just going to let this go. Because I have something to stand on and I know God confirmed it.
Right. And that's a good point that you brought up about a reason, a season, or a lifetime, because I think it does kind of fit in generally into those categories, where someone is there for a season and you've learned from one another and things like that. And there was a purpose for that season. But when the season's over, it's over. And it doesn't have to be a harsh departure at all.
Right.
It's kind of like the 4 seasons. Well, not so much in Cali, but I'm from New York and we definitely have 4 seasons, right? So when winter's over, you put the boots away, and the scarves and stuff. You don't try to carry it into another season.
Oh, snap.
And those that are lifetimes, I mean, you really won't know until time goes on and it feels wow, there's a connection here.
Because some people, you guys are growing in the same direction. But people in general, as time goes on, you grow in some way, shape, or form. And, you may have been friends since childhood, but at one point it's like, well, dang, my life is going this way, your life is going that way, and you have to be okay with separating. The issues, the heartache, and the confusion comes when we just want to hang on to all these friendships, which happens all the time. But when we try to hang on to things when it's out of season, like you got your rain boots on in the summertime, you're out here looking crazy. So thanks. You already know what I'm about to say. Thanks for watching. Yeah, we got our light in the back. Oh, this is cute. We look cute. We're matching. No comment? Sips tea. And it matches our shirt.
Oh, yes, it does. Huh? Thank you, Heather, for this tip. It's just water here.
You just name dropping today. Wanting a lot of friends.
And have a wonderful day. Oh, amazing.
And liking, subscribing stuff.
Oh. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time. Have an amazing day.